Okay, so these are going to be notes before we actually get to the actual math that we have to do. We have to remember how to do some assignments on this. So some things that we need to know how to do. So basically this first thing is this is a graphical representation to place the amounts of data. So here's all these data. It's type A, B, C, D, and E, personality traits. And then here's the number of people. So frequency means that number of people that are given. So how many people are type A? This would be 2. How many people are type B? So between 2 and 4 would be 3. And then C has the most, and that's at 8. And then D is at 4. And this should be an E, not a D, sorry. And then E is again at 3. And then how many total did you get? Well, and then what you do when you total answer those, so you have 8, 2, that's 10, 13, plus 4 is 17, and then plus another 3 is 20. So how'd you get that? You just add all the types. So you just added I just added all of those numbers. That's how I got this. So then the mean, the next part is, what is the mean? And I'm giving you 2 different examples. I'm giving you in a frequency table, and then I give it to you in just a list of numbers. And the mean is just, and sometimes we call that the average, but that's really not mathematically correct. The mean is the mean. The average is actually looking at 3 different things: the mean, the median, and the mode. That's what the average is, because you're finding kind of that middle area. And sometimes it's the best to use a mean, sometimes it's best to use a mode, sometimes it's best to use a median. And that's what we're going to study in this particular unit when we're studying the effects of changes. So basically what happens is, so for the mean, I'm going to add all this data. So I'm going to take all of these numbers and I'm going to add them up. So this is where you're going to use your little Desmos, and you just take all of those numbers and I just add them up. So all I do is I type this in. Yeah, you can see that. So I'm going to go 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 3 plus 6 plus 6. Whoops. I need to put pluses in between those things. Plus 8 plus 3 plus 8 plus 7 plus 1 plus 9 plus 3 plus 4, and then there's 2 4s, plus 3, and then plus 7. So there's a total. So that total is, that sum is 90. So I added all of those up. Then now you have to take how many numbers there are, and we call that N. That's your sample size. How many different numbers? So we just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So N is 18. That's your sample size. So you're going to go N divided by 18. So now I'm going to go 90. And now I'm going to divide that by my 18, my sum divided by 18. And then I got my answer. Is my mean. That happened to be a pretty number. It's not always like that. So this time, this one's a little different. And this time you have just a bunch of scores, and I give you the frequency table first. So I'm going to list my numbers. So I have 2 1s. So I'm going to have 1 and 1. And then I have how many 2s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many 3s? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I've got 1 5. And then how many 4s? I got 2 4s and 1 5. So those are all of my numbers. And so once you have those kind of listed, sorry guys. Once you have those listed, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to add up our numbers. So 1 plus 1, and this might be easier instead of just typing it in. I think we can do some simple math. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. and then you have 13, 16, 19, 22, 26, 30, 35. So that sum would be 35. Okay, so I listed all of the numbers. Then I found my sum. And then how many total do we have? So 2, there's 2 there, there's 5 here, and then there's 3 here, there's 2 there, and there's 1 there. So 2, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's 13. N is 13. So now you're going to take 35 and divide it by 13. Because I got 13 things. So I just counted. There was 2, 5, and then, oops, this is a 4, not a 3. So this is not going to be 13. That's going to be 14 because I can't count. 2 plus 5 is 7, plus 4, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep, 14 things. So 35 divided by 14. And so we just use our calculator. And again, I'm just using my Desmos. 35 divided by 14, and you get 2.5 is that mean. So that mean is just going to be 2.5. So, and we're going to use these same numbers the whole entire time. I haven't changed any of the examples. We're just doing different things. So now we're talking about the median. And then when you're going to do the median, you're finding that middle number. You're finding that middle number. So now when you go through and you find that middle number, you have to list your numbers from smallest to largest. So the smallest number is 1. So once I write it down, then I cross it off. And then do I have any 2s? No 2s. Okay, and then I have a 3. So you have to list all of your 3s. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and then there's 4, and then there's 5. So those are all of your 3s. Then we go through and we list our 4s. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then we go through and we list our 5s. That's the only 5. We list our 6s. 1, 2, 3. And then you list 7. I think there's only one 7. Then you have your 8. Oh no, there's 2 7s. And then you have an 8. And you have another 8. And then you're just left with a 9. Okay, so I listed all of my numbers. Then you go through and then it says, now we have to find the middle number. So I go through and I just start working my way out. So I take my 2 hands and I start going and I'm finding my middle. So that's crossed out, that's crossed out, that's crossed out. So I'm going to cross out that, then I'm going to cross out that, then I'm going to cross out this, then I'm going to cross out this. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So if you just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's my middle. So notice that the middle is smack dab in between there. So I've got 9 on this side of the bar, on the left side of the bar, and I have 9 numbers on the right side of the bar. So that middle number, and when you have an even number, you have to go 4 plus 5 and then divide by 2 because you're finding the mean between those 2 numbers. So that's 9 divided by 2, which is 5. That's your median. So that one right there is your median. And we already just did. So we went through and we kind of listed our numbers and we listed them out. So you had 1, 1, and then you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s, and then you had 4 3s. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you had 2 4s and 1 5. And again, we already found that there was 14 things. So smack dab in the middle of that 14 is going to be 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in the middle and in between those is going to be 2 plus 3 divided by 2. So 5 divided by 2 gives me 2.5. That's going to be your median. So this is going to be your median for both of those. And then the last two things that we need to cover before you can do your assignment is the mode. So we're going to talk about the mode. And then the mode is what happens the most often. So the mode is what happens the most often. So, and once I put all of my numbers in order, so I just kind of go back. Once I put all of my numbers in order, so we had 1, and then you had, so I'm just going to go back to my median page, and I looked, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I had 5 3s. I had 1, 2, 3 4s. I had 3 6s, and then that's it. So that 3 is the most often. So I just found the number that repeated the most, and it is easier once it's in there. So this is going to be 3 is your mode. So because there was 5 3s. Now, if by chance you had something, so if I gave you, I'm going to give you another example here. If I gave you 2 2, 5 5, 7 7, 9 1, so this time all three of these numbers, there's 2 2s, there's 2 5s, and there's 2 7s. So this time you would have 3 modes. You can have multiple modes. So your mode, there would be, actually this would be plural, modes would be 2, 5, and 7 in that case. So if this was just a list of all of your numbers in order, obviously you're going to have, there's 2 2s, 2 5s, and 2 7s, and they all have there's 2 of the 2s, 2 of the 5s, and 2 of the 7s. So they all have 2 of them, and they repeat. So you can have multiple modes. Now, if you just had a list of no numbers and they were all they were all like 1, you didn't have anything, they were all the same, so that would be bimodal. That would be no mode. That would be no modal. So there is no mode. There's just none. All right. This one is my favorite. So this example B over here is my absolute favorite, is when there's a frequency table, because you can just look and see, hey, which one has the highest peak? So which one occurred the most often? 2. And then the answer is 2, because it has the highest peak. That one's like easy. This is why I like frequency tables, is because boom, you can see where most of the data is at. That's what a frequency table is. When you have a list of numbers, it's really hard to see all of those numbers and spread them out. But when you have a graphical representation, it's really nice to see, oh, I have a really high peak at 2. And 2s and 3s are pretty close together. So maybe these things are outliers. Maybe that 1 and that 5 are outliers, and they're kind of messing up our data and skewing it. That comes later, but that's just it. Now, the range. So the range is that overall spread of numbers. So you take your largest number, subtract your max and your min. So I find my largest number, which is 9, and my smallest number, which is 1. So then I just go 9 minus 1, and I get 8. So you're just going to subtract those two. And my smallest number is 1. My largest number is 5. So I'm going to go 5 minus 1 is 4. So there's a range of 4. So that's going to be like your range, your max minus your min. So that's just kind of like a little recap of what you did in middle school. It's been a long time because now you're juniors in high school. So this is why we just recapped how to find those particular things.